are. And if you are a libertarian like myself, and I know a lot of my subscribers are, then you already know how ridiculous the drug laws are. So why would you be supportive of the people enforcing those drug laws? You can say, yeah, they don't believe the same way I do, and they're just doing what they think is right, but, you know, a lot of people throughout history have done what they thought was right, and only to find out that it really wasn't. I'm sure that a lot of people in Germany thought killing all the Jews and gypsies was the right thing to do. If they hadn't thought it was the right thing to do, they wouldn't have done it. People are not evil by nature. People do not want to do evil things by nature. But people will do evil things if they are convinced that they are actually correct things, that they're actually the right thing to do, that they will actually be positive in the long run. And that happens time and time again. You see it happening every fucking day. People, that's why they have the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So, I don't think that the good intentions of our men in blue, our men and women in blue, so I don't think that the good intentions of our men and women are blue are any justification for them enforcing draconian laws that make no fucking sense whatsoever, and I have no respect for them whatsoever. I have respect for some of them as individuals, as I respect almost all people once I get to know them individually, but I don't respect the position of police officer. I don't respect what they do. I think it is a bullshit job. And, you know, I know that a lot of people will inevitably watch this video and respond with, well, what if there's some criminals at your house? You're going to call the police then? Yeah, I'm going to call the police after I blow the burglar's fucking head off for trying to fuck with my shit. I'm not going to call the police and expect them to drive down here and save my ass before the burglar gets in. I'm going to take care of that shit myself and then have them come and clean up the mess. I don't need them. But, you know, I'm not worried. You know, when people say, how are you going to protect yourself without the police? I ask them, how are you going to protect yourself from the police if they ever turn against you? You know, what happens when they come for your ass, you know? What happens when you're the one on the opposite side of the law there, buddy? Yeah, maybe you're in the right, maybe you're in the wrong. It doesn't really matter. If they come for you, they fucking come for you. So, I don't know that, and I'm not too comfortable with the police in another respect because I view them in many ways as just a codified gang. You know, they're just like the Crips or the Bloods. The only difference is that they get state funding and they have to follow a few arbitrary little guidelines, and as soon as the cameras aren't rolling, those guidelines go out the fucking window. I've seen it 1,000 times. It doesn't matter what color you are, they'll harass the fuck out of you. I know this is hearsay because I wasn't actually present, but I know there was some kids loitering outside the bowling alley down in Covington, Louisiana, down in Mandeville, Louisiana, where a lot of teenagers, you know, hang out outside the bowling alley, and some cops came by and said, hey, you kids are fucking loitering, get the fuck out of here, you have 10 seconds to leave and get the fuck out of here. And one of the kids asked, well, what are we doing? And the cop responded by bashing him in the stomach with a nightstick and telling him, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, so I mean, that's of course just the actions of one cop, but it's not like just one thing, it's widespread. I've heard horror stories from a bunch of my friends down there in the Louisiana area, not really my friends, my brother's friends. I don't really have any friends because I'm not very friendly. But I've heard plenty of stories of the little Wiccan kids, mostly, those little kids who describe themselves as Wiccans, the little kids who describe themselves as pagans, the little kids who describe themselves as goths or emos or whatever the fuck they are this week. They have a lot of trouble with the police because they dress differently, because they act a little bit differently, because they have a slightly different system of values, not truly different. Their social rebellion is, of course, totally artificial and concocted mostly by the media, and they're just following the same thing. I mean, Hot Topic is owned by the fucking Gap. How counterculture can you really be? The point is, though, that the cops fill their little role perfectly and go there and harass these fucking kids just because they are not all American looking like they were back when they were in fucking high school. I know that for a fact that cops think like that because if you watch enough episodes of Cops, you will hear a lot of the cops. You will hear a lot of reoccurring sentiments. You'll hear a lot of recurring sentiments coming from these cops' mouths. I've heard at least 7 cops on that show say that good, honest, hard-working people good honest people work during the day and go to sleep at night, and that only the nasty, evil people are out after the dark hour, after dark, you know. People who do that kind of stuff, ooh man, they're just nasty people. They go out at night and they eat babies and, you know, rape, murder, and destruction and stuff, when most of these people are just fucking pathetic losers looking for the next hit. You know. By the way, isn't it kind of interesting that they sell crack pipes at 7-Eleven in the ghetto? Did you know that? Did you know that major convenience stores in the ghettos of America sell crack pipes? I bet you a lot of white America doesn't know that. It's not really too related to what we're talking about, but it's kind of interesting, isn't it? And when the story broke that they were selling crack pipes in these stores, I mean, obviously they weren't sold as crack pipes, but they were being sold specifically because there was a market for crack pipes there. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing really wrong with that, because I am a libertarian, as I said, and I believe in a free market. I believe that you should provide for the people's interests. And if there's supply, if there's demand, there should be supply. However, I think it's kind of strange that these corporations would so disingenuously stock their stores full of paraphernalia for illicit drugs, that the same stores, you know, and then kind of try to keep their little nice sanitary public image afterwards. You know, it kind of baffles the fucking mind. I've probably talked about this long enough, but the point you should come away with here is that cops are thugs. They're just a codified gang. They're not, you know, the policeman is not your fucking friend. And, you know, I have nothing against individual police officers. If you are a cop watching this, I would assume, if I have as many subscribers as I do, that there's probably at least someone in there who is or who knows a cop, who is probably a really decent person. And it's not my intent to offend that person. It's not my intent to offend whoever might be offended by this. If you're watching this and you are offended, then I think you should understand that I'm not trying to rag on individual cops or call them bad people or anything like that. I'm just saying that there is a mentality present there that is blanketing the vast majority of these people, that they really do think like this for a large part. And, you know, there's a weird Leave It to Beaver attitude going on there. I hear them say things like wholesome and good hard working and stuff, that really lingo that really has not been in vogue, really has not been part of the common American vernacular for quite some time now. Very strange things, very anachronistic ways of speaking, very anachronistic ways of thinking. And I'd like to see some fucking liberal cops out there. Why do I only see ultra-hardcore conservative cops? I know liberals believe in laws. I guess maybe liberals are waiting until the laws make sense before they start enforcing them. And I'd like to see some different points of view here. I'd like to see some different philosophies within these police departments. I don't want to just see one prevalent ideology that seems to dominate every single cop, every single police station's philosophy throughout the country. I'd like to see some different ideas. I'd like to see some different methods of enforcement. And I'd like to see different things being enforced. I'd like to see crimes that actually have victims being enforced, rather than crimes that only adversely affect the people involved. But I'm starting to repeat myself. I really just need to stop talking. I'm sure I'll edit this down. It's probably about 20 minutes as I've been speaking it, but I'll edit it down to probably like 15 or something. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble, and peace out.